Despite being over 2,000 years old, the Stoic philosophy is still highly relevant to our modern lives. Here are 5 important life lessons from the Stoics. 1. Focus on what you can change and don't worry about the things you can't. This is the most important and most practical of the Stoic practices. You can think of this as the circle of influence concept. It's the ability to differentiate between the things that are under your control and those that are not. Epictetus said, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters, so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control." As parents, I think this philosophy is particularly useful. There are so many things we can worry ourselves sick about, which if you actually examine them, are probably out of our control. By focusing our energy only on those things we can influence and not worrying about those which we can't, we can be more productive and less stressed. 2. Treat every problem as an opportunity. This can be a hard one to practice, especially during difficult situations, but that's when it is most important. This second lesson from the Stoics relates to the first one, because while you can't control everything that happens to you, the one thing you always have control over is how you respond to a situation or a problem. By adopting this attitude, we can turn life's obstacles into opportunities, and we can embrace life's challenges as a way to advance and improve. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." 3. Appreciate what you have. This is a simple lesson, but one that's very important to remind ourselves of. It's even more relevant in today's society, which has become very materialistic. Practicing gratitude every day has been shown to increase happiness. And it makes sense, because it forces you to focus on the things you have, instead of focusing on the things you don't have. Obviously, this is also a great attitude to try and ingrain in our children. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." 4. Bad things happen. Don't be surprised, be prepared. The Stoics practiced an exercise they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. The way this one works is that you start each day by imagining all the things that could possibly go wrong throughout the day. Whilst this sounds like a very depressing way to live your life, the principle behind it is a good one. It means that when we do encounter some of life's inevitable setbacks, we are less likely to collapse into a quivering mess. Instead, we are prepared and ready to respond in the most positive way possible. In our personal lives, I think a very practical application of this principle is with regards to your marriage or your relationship. It's easy to be romantic and think yours will be different, and hopefully it might. But the reality is that about half of marriages end in divorce, and almost all of them encounter problems at some point, particularly after kids arrive. By being aware that this is likely to happen, you can take preemptive steps to help reduce the risk. You can also be better prepared to work through the inevitable problems when they do arrive. Seneca said, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden." 5. Maintain perspective and see the bigger picture. Marcus Aurelius wrote about a practice that is referred to as taking the view from above, or Plato's view. This is a very useful technique to remember when you are getting stressed about something in your life. The idea is to remind yourself that at the end of the day, we are all very insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Therefore, most of our problems are also insignificant when you put them in context of the bigger picture. So take a step back and realize that nothing is ever as important as it seems in the moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "Think of the whole universe of matter and how small your share